We are back. All right, you are taking the road until mid-afternoon, at which point it begins to snow lightly.
What is this?
It's
I don't want this.
you know what this is, Worth. This is
I know what it is, but I don't like it.
I think it's called snow.
I think it's called dying in the elements.
Nah.
Dying
it's
in the road for sure.
It
This
starts nice and light at first. It's about 1 o'clock, I'd say.
Yeah. This is great, honestly. I have not felt better about just generally anything in a while. This is some good stuff.
We don't have a whole lot of this down in Earth sometimes, but this is one of the things I quite enjoyed about moving up to Volfgard, is the snows that they get there. It is truly beautiful.
Yeah. Honestly, I missed the Highlands, and this is bringing me back.
Oh, I imagine there's some beautiful scenes up there in the winters.
Yeah. And it's
I'm
very
sure
good.
it's beautiful if you're in a cabin with a fire and not walking on a path that you need to. It's not even a road. We got to be able to see it to find out where we're going. If the snow obscures the path, we're dead.
No, we'll just.
Apparently, you're still able to follow the road right for now.
How did you and I flip there, Worth? Suddenly, I am the happy one, and you are the one that is afraid of dying on the road.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You've been around View too long.
Yeah, we certainly flipped. Yeah. Well, continuing on, I suppose.
Passing along the road until about 2:30, when the wind picks up from the north, and the snow begins blowing sideways almost, and you see across the road drifts are just starting to form. The snow picks up a little bit, the flakes are bigger, and the wind is higher, and it's colder.
We need to find some place to get out of the wind and wait this out.
Oh yeah, sure. I look around for a place that would provide us adequate shelter.
Make me a survival check.
21.
Here's what you see. You see ahead of you, the road becomes, within only a few minutes, becomes invisible. All you see is a stand of maybe some trees on the right side, some darker shapes, but what you hear is a low and that same thump that carries even through the baleful cry of the snow and the wind. But you see no real place to shelter yet, because the weather has become so white, almost a white wall right ahead in front of you.
Trees, or shall we just continue eastward more?
I don't know.
We've got to find somewhere. This is terrible. Just can't even see anything. What if we push through a little bit further? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, let's keep going until we find a good spot.
If we stop right now, whatever that thing is might be on to us.
All right, let's go.
Everybody roll con save for me.
Heck yes. Oh,
something.
Natural 1.
15.
And 16.
Warith and Mirwin, you both are able to push through. The snow is really hitting you, but your constitution, your hardy build, even Warith, the pirate coat does the trick, and you push on through. You persevere. Bew, you take 2 levels of exhaustion.
Ooh.
So you have disadvantage on ability checks, and your speed is halved until you take a long rest. So you guys are able to, however, continue for about another hour when the wind, the snow clears for but a moment, and you see a small hill.
There we go. There's something up there. There's a hill, I think.
Maybe that'll have some kind of shelter or
Let's
cave.
work towards that, yeah?
Behind you, you hear sounds like scraping of claws against wood.
Turn around and look at whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You roll investigation.
How's our cart doing?
Yeah. I'm
The
still
cart
on a
is
horse,
okay.
right?
I got a natural 1.
You can't see anything, and I mean,
11.
you just 11. None of you can see anything.
Yeah, I got a 6.
You can't even see the trees. It's almost like you're in another dimension of only snow, except that one. It looks like a darkish rock that forms a small hill.
Continue towards it.
Yeah, I just keep going. I guess I can't see what's behind me, so.
Yep.
And I guess I wouldn't be riding the horse right now. I'd be leading it because it's.
Okay, so you're leading the horse along at a brisk pace, trying to find something somewhere.
Away from the monster
And
killer squirrels.
Does any of you get up on the rock? Like up on the hill?
Yep.
Up
Yeah,
to it?
you reach it. You're up to it.
I try to
it's-
get on the opposite side of the cover from the wind.
I
Very
want to
good.
get on top of the rock and look around.
Okay. You were able to get into the cover of it, where you're in a tiny little shadow of wind or of space where the snow isn't hitting you directly in the face. And Warith, you get on top of it, and from there, roll investigation.
19.
And Bew, roll investigation with advantage. Wait, no, roll it because you have exhaustion. Roll with disadvantage.
10.
You guys, between the two of you, and you spot off in the distance, pretty much straight forward, there is a small shape, something that's standing out from the. It's dark. It stands out from the landscape. It's stationary. It could be a structure. It's maybe 500 feet away.
You want to try for whatever that is, or do you want to just...
Let's go for it. Looks better than this.
Well, this is sure. We don't know what that is. Here we have at least a little bit of cover, and we can keep the horses on the other side and of the wind, and don't know what that could be over there.
Is this spot big enough for 4 people and animals that we're hiding in? Or
I mean, no. So you're like kind of have to be up alongside it or near it. You're definitely off the road right now. The terrain is not easy. It's bumpy for the cart, and the horse navigates it easy enough.
Could
Start going for it.
crates off of the wagon and create some shelter off of those? No? Okay.
We wouldn't be able to. That's there's way little. We couldn't. It's too little to create a shelter out of. We should
That's
go to
wicked.
whatever that is.
Yeah,
It's our only hope.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Okay.
You hear footsteps behind you, even louder now.
Outvoted, I suppose.
Yeah, let's go see what that thing is. Doesn't look like it's moving.
I'm worried that it is the footsteps, but if I guess they're behind us, then let's go.
All right, you move, and Brecken leads you at a fair pace, reaching Fabian pretty much as fast as you can go. Behind you, you can still see nothing, but ahead, as you approach, you see that you're within within about 100 feet. When you see this as a yurt, another giant's yurt. It's surrounded by a palisade fence. And you see several large dark shapes within. You can't tell what they are. But you see a giant. He exits the yurt, looks up at you with a wooden rod in one hand and a bright lantern in the other. He puts a hand up against the snow, spotting you. And you hear him shout, little folk, please come, my children, come quickly. And behind you, the
Going.
and you hear
Breaking. Running.
you hear this immense roar, heavy footsteps, and the next thing you hear is there's a whoosh, and something flies over your heads. And behind you, you hear a and
I start double timing it.
Yeah.
you double time it, and you reach this palisade wall where the giant now stands with a bow in his hands, having put down his lantern and rod, and he's urging you, hurry, inside. He lifts a heavy wooden bar and pulls open a gate in his palisade wall. This wall, by the way, not being quite chest high on him. As you rush in and enter, he slams it shut and slams the bar down. You see now that as you look around, that it's less of a wall and more of a fence meant to keep in some creatures that you now see around you, and to keep other creatures out, as the logs of the palisade are pointed stakes with spears lashed between every other one, pointing a few feet upward. And you now see pretty clearly these animals within the pen. They're humongous. Large, very shaggy, woolly creatures. They're long, and they have two prominent horns on the front of their heads.
They're not unicorns.
No, what you see here are woolly rhinoceroses.
Wow.
Wow.
There are 5 of them, and they look to be just chilling. Don't mind the snow at all. A couple of them are sitting down, just weathering it out. And this giant motions you toward the front door of his home, which he opens and ushers you inside. He lets you in, follows, closes the door, and bars this one again. And he hangs the lantern, hangs this bow on a couple of pegs. You see the bow is now at least 10 feet long. It's a gnarled, twisted wood. And he motions for you to sit. Now, the inside of this yurt, it's an even bigger yurt than the one you saw by the sea. It is decorated sparsely, but comfortably. The floor is hard, packed dirt, but several sprawling rugs cover most of it. They're finely woven, some of them dyed, thick and comfortable.
Oh, what happened? Do I see like stab wounds or bad joke? I'm sorry.
Hey. Anyways,
Ruined your train of thought.
it is surprisingly warm right inside the yurt. No wind penetrates it. Snow can't get in. It doesn't have any windows. It looks like he has been here for many decades, perhaps even centuries. There are strings of beads upon the walls hung. You also do see two immense pumpkins sitting across the single room. There's a roaring fire and a circle of stones in the center of this yurt, and over it is a rack suspending a metal pot where something is cooking. The giant quickly takes a jar and adds something to it, stirs. And he turns back towards you all and sits cross-legged. And he says, "You have been through quite a lot, little folk. Excuse my manners. I am Runbunorovar."
Thank you very much for helping us. I am Salvoreth.
Salvarith. I, of course, must help you as you are being hunted, I'm sure you know.
What were those things? Hunted by what?
That we will see in the morning, but likely it was a troll or a yeti.
Oh my.
So, you know, Worth, when you were listing off threats last night, you did not come up with Yeti. So there we go.
That did not cross my mind. Also, I might point out that it was not something that we were warned about.
No.
True.
Nope.
Well, we will see. They are of similar demeanor, but in the morning we shall check. As I said, my name is Drunbunorovar, but I know something of the little folk, and being short themselves are fond of shortness in words, so you may call me Buno.
Uno. Again, thank you.
Of course. Let me offer you food as soon as I'm finished with cooking this. And he turns back to his pot and stirs a little bit more.
Yeah, that was fortunate. The timing on that one, yeah, Worth.
Yes.
Oh, what brings you? What brings you little folk to our island and wandering about in the midst of snowstorms being tracked by such things?
Well,
We are searching.
Yeah, as Worth said.
You are searchers?
Yeah.
I see.
We're searching for, what was that name?
Well, we were
The
to find Ovvai.
cliff guy.
Ovvai.
Ovvai! Yes,
settlement.
Ovvai. Our people do not congregate in many large settlements. Solace we find in isolation. Better to commune with the ground and the animals. Still, we do have some settlements, Ovvai being the largest among them. If you go, you will find traders there in tools, foodstuffs, clothing, and rugs like you see here. There are stone workers and weavers and brewers, workers of pottery. It is a fine place where I have been several times.
Interesting.
Now, Bruno, we are also looking for someone who, we primarily we're looking for someone called the Cliff Watcher. Have you heard of that individual?
He looks up with some surprise. The Cliff Watcher. He is rarely seen. He is wise, knowing many things of the world, having even traveled it, more so than any of our people in known history. Thus he is respected so.
He is a giant, yeah?
Yes, indeed. One of the most respected of our people, as I said. You said you were searchers. What search you?
We're searching
Uh,
for answers. We need someone
Answers?
to help us translate an ancient and possibly dead language that very few know.
Oh, I see.
we are not sure if our journey ends with the Cliff Watcher. We believe that he is just another stepping stone to find someone who is rumored to be able to read dead languages. We are not sure if it is him or if he just knows where this rumored individual is.
The Cliff Watcher knows many things. I cannot tell you either whether he will be able to tell you much of your dead language, or if perhaps he speaks it fluently, perhaps he knows nothing of it. But he very well may be able to help you in some way. But know this of the Cliff Watcher. He will help you, but he will test you before he finds you worthy.
How will he test us?
That is up to the Cliff Watcher. Now, Ovvai, you will find steps east of here and north, in case you are lost, which it seems to me that you are lost. Hopefully the snow will have abated by tomorrow and you can be on your way. Though, of course, you are welcome to my hospitality. But by your reckoning, you are on foot, are you not? With your
Yes.
beasts of burden. By the way, the door is easily big enough that the horse and cart were able to just right in. Like, it's a cozy place for him, but it's pretty massive for all of you.
Okay.
The Tinkerbell and Fabian and the cart, they're all pretty comfortable in there. And he said, so Brecken breaks in, and then we'll know exactly how far is it in buying. How would we understand that? These steps you speak of. And Bruno says, by your reckoning, perhaps 4 days to the north and east.
And we have already been one so far, 1.5.
Where came you to our island? You have a ship? Did you dock? Whom did you speak to?
Yeah, we have
You spoke to a giant?
Yes.
We did.
We did.
Who was it?
I don't remember his name, but I bet Mirwin does.
Yep, she's just bringing it up in the old mine palace.
Hmm.
I didn't write it down.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but the GM can provide that for you.
But I know
Mirwin tells you that his name was Mahaloreo.
That's why I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
Oh, Mahaloreo. The fisher, the trapper.
Yes.
He is a good friend of mine.
I'm curious, how long have you known him?
300 years, perhaps.
Wow.
That is how long I have been in this place. Him, however, he has had his trappers' stations. He has moved his yurt up and down the coast several times throughout the centuries, building and rebuilding wherever he finds the right game or creatures to trap. And quite often I trade with him. Would you like to know what's in the pot right now that I cook? Of course, I got it for him. It is his squids. Their tentacles are just succulent. And I cooked them up quite well. In fact, would you like some for dinner? It is nearly ready, and you must be hungry, tired.
I would very much enjoy some of that.
Let me feed you. And he goes, and you see now that there's like it's like a kitchen island. It's just basically a block of like a table, but like with really thick legs. And he puts the pot onto it, and he gathers a few bowls up, and he ladles some of this stew into each of them, and it's like he puts one in each of your laps, and it's like this big. It's like the biggest bowl of soup. Like it's like a pot of soup for each of you.
Wow.
And he just says, "Enjoy, please enjoy." It's chopped up in pretty big pieces, but you find a way to make it through.
Yeah, I start chowing down.
Yeah, you chow down, and you get in a long rest here, and you start feeling better after a bowl of this stuff. Your stomach is warm. The fatigue starts to go out of your limbs, and the warmth returns to your core, and you feel revitalized.
Yeah, that was all good. Thank you, Bruno. We appreciate it very much.
How are you finding the isle so far, other than being chased? What think you of it?
Oh, I love it.
Cold.
It is very cold, and everything is big.
I suppose you, even among the little folk, are one of the littlest, are you not?
That is true.
And what was your name?
My name was Murwin.
Norwin. Smallest of the small. Well, I think that you may just be heartier than the rest of these to deal with our homeland.
She is very hardy.
She's of solid form. Yes, these winds can get much, even sometimes for us giants.
That's a lot. I would assume that you guys are pretty impenetrable, yeah?
Most of the time. Would like to say that we are never affected by the weather, but here we can never be sure. And the beasts, even, catch us unaware at times. I have had both troll and yeti attempt to harm my pets. Thus, the fence that you have seen. They wish to carry them off as game, but I will not allow it. I shepherd them.
How smart would you say the troll and yeti are? Are they beasts of their own, or do they have intelligent thought in society, or what would you say?
Troll and yeti are different breeds. A troll, you see, he hungers and pursues bitterly, and out of such hunger. But he is not the most skilled creature in the art of thinking, nor in tracking. Mostly they strike quickly and within short distances of their lairs. A yeti, though, smarter, more intelligent they are than the troll. They can track their prey over days. They are patient. They have not the thought capacity of you or I, of course. Neither does the troll. But he is more clever than the troll is.
Well, let's hope then we were not tracked by a Yeti.
I was
Certainly
going to
not.
say that we were. That thing seemed to have tracked us all from overnight till right now.
How long were you being hunted? Were you aware of?
We heard footsteps last night, in the night as we were keeping watch.
And now through the whole day. I must say it was a Yeti.
Then is it likely that he will continue to follow us if we leave tomorrow?
It is likely that I killed it.
Well,
I am a very good shot, even in the snow, but we shall find out.
That's what Runa was saying, was that we'll find out in the morning because it will be lying there dead.
And even if not, it is gravely injured, and Yetis, they are intelligent enough to know when they are beaten. Would not attack a giant's home a second time once wounded so badly.
I hope that you're right.
That I have learned over the years.
Mirwin, how old are you, did you say?
I am 250.
250. Ha! Then I was a mere 200 years old when you were born.
I've never met anyone that old.
I am 450 years old.
Wow.
And may I ask, how long does your kind normally live?
There is an elder giant living in the far north that I know. He witnessed the breaking in the south, which was 725 years ago, and he was an adult by then, so he is much beyond 900 years now. But stories tell of giant kind living more than a millennia, though none of those now live.
Incredible.
Incredibly long time. We thank you for not smiting us on your doorstep and being kind to us.
I would not. I am a shepherd, you see, and little folk and beasts of the non-malevolent sort. It is my duty and privilege to shepherd, even if it is a few lost travelers.
Well, we do thank you. We came to this island thinking that it was going to be the other way around, so it has so far been a pleasant surprise. I feel that we cannot say thank you enough.
Of course. Yes, no. Only because of our size does not mean that we are a mean folk. Indeed, what need would we have of aggression overly? None that I can think of. But now I must be off to sleep, for I have been shepherding since the early morning. Perhaps in the morning you can meet my babies. My children, Drad Philo, Emnafe, Umvarloch and Nebrono. I love them so.
We would be honored.
We would love to, yeah. Where is appropriate for us to bed down for the night until then?
Oh, of course. Anywhere you see fit. There are many skins laid down upon these rugs. There, and you see the rugs are very thick and luscious. And there are some loose furs and stuff that you could. You're moving that background.
Yep.
There
Sure
are some
am.
loose furs around and things like that.
I'm
So
gonna
you-
bed down on something luscious.
So you have no problem finding more than enough bedding material, and it's soft and nice, and
Cozy?
it's cozy, and you all get a good night's sleep along with Bruno. You wake in the morning. You wake in the morning to Bruno already working on something over the fire, and the smell is, it smells like squid again, but that is to be expected. He's got a lot of it.
Squid delicious.
And you had a nice night of sleep, cozy and warm, though the wind raged outside. And you awake, and what do you do?
I want to go to the door and peek out, or
See if it's still snowing.
so there's no windows, right? There's no window in the door.
No windows, no window on the door.
A
Bruno sees
keyhole
you.
I can peep out of.
There's no keyhole. There's only a bar. Bruno says, "Good morning. You have awoken. I do certainly hope that you were able to have good, peaceful sleep after what you went through.
Yeah, yes, thank you. I slept very well.
I am glad to hear it. I can tell you that the snow abated in the night. Though many drifts there. I have only looked out briefly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we have a long distance to go, so we'll probably head out pretty soon. We have people waiting on us, and we would like to get to where we need to be and back again as soon as possible.
Of course. Well, please eat before you leave. Here. And he again hands you all an incredibly huge bowl of the same stew from last night. And he says, of course, as well, some tea. And he pours you a huge earthenware cup of tea. It's like those, it's like a super gulp, you know? It's like a big gulp of tea. And
That's delightful.
he says, he says, it is, I sweetened it, honey imported from Caswin.
Mm,
Oh.
incredible.
You should like it, I hope.
We
Maybe else.
have had a couple of questions about the giant. We have been the giant culture. We have been speculating as we determined to come here. We were wondering if we could run them by you.
Of course, you may ask me any questions you have.
So we were wondering what you use as currency.
Oh, you see. And he actually unhooks this string of purple and white beads from his belt, and he says, these are what we exchange in terms of currency, generally, although we also enjoy bargaining and trading.
Interesting.
But when
So
a price must be agreed upon, oftentimes we will use these they are carved of rare seashells.
Do you ever run into gold or gold coins?
Oh no, I'll say that some traders have accepted gold and silver from the little folk who carry those so often, but not all. Most find this to be effective, though some have taken gold and silver as payment before.
Interesting. Warith was especially interested in if there were livestock and if you had chickens.
Chickens.
Chicken?
Yeah, weren't you wondering about like large chickens the size of yourself, Warith? Or am I imagining that? I'm sorry.
Who knows? That may be something I said.
Yeah, you said that.
I must be confused, for I know not what a chicken is.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that answers that.
That
Where we
pretty
come
much
from, a
answers-
chicken is a small bird that is used for food.
They
And I
they lay eggs, and we typically eat the eggs. Yeah.
Oh, they must be small like you.
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
much smaller than we are. I had wondered if giants use chickens, how big they must be.
Well, we use eggs of the cooler. Perhaps the cooler is similar.
Do you
What is-
mind describing that for us so that we can get a better picture in our minds?
The cooler. Birds. Large. We eat their eggs sometimes, or we pickle them. They are about maybe perhaps near to one of your heights. And as he describes, you get that he's sort of describing something like this, basically.
Heck. Oh boy.
And he kind of fills in those details, the shaggy feathers, the sharp
Yes.
beak.
It looks like a terror bird.
And he says, is this similar to your chickens?
Yeah,
Well, it is
it's
a
not-
bird.
The chickens
too
aren't
far.
quite as.
Frightening.
Yes.
No, have you
more-
seen those things? They're horrifying.
Could it be a more docile kuno?
Perhaps.
Are your birds that you speak of, are they typically aggro? Do they attack often?
It depends. Oftentimes we use them to assist us to shepherd the rhinos.
And may I ask, what do you do with the rhinos? Do you harvest fur or meat?
Yes, some keep them for just because they like them, but we also use them for wool. In the summers, in the warmer times of the year, they will shed, and we will also shear them. And we have many textilers who create these wonderful rugs that you see.
Mm.
Sometimes we prefer not to use them for meat, but sometimes during special occasions or holidays, one will be slaughtered or two for a village to be passed around as a special occasion to honor our festivals.
We really shouldn't have come here during this time, yeah? It kind of seems that we've come at the most inhospitable time of the year. If you're saying there are warmer times, Bruno.
Well, there are a bit warmer, but as you know, we are nearing the end of autumn. However, it will only worsen come the winter.
Yay.
Well,
That figures.
let's hope we can find what we're looking for before then.
Then I will let you be off. However, you must come, finish your food and drink, saddle your horses and your ass, and come out.
You, that's you.
No, that's not me.
You know, the short grey one. Saddle him, the
Mhm.
ass, and come outside with me.
We still have to meet the babies.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Ah, yes, my children, come and meet them. Come and meet them. After you make ready, he lifts the bar, opens the door, and leads you outside. And you see these now. The day is everything around you is pure white. And around here, around this hut, there are 5 woolly rhinoceroses, and mostly they're laying around. One of them is kind of nosing his way through a snowdrift that's kind of come up against the house, looking for whatever might be in there. And one of them turns and looks at you, Bu.
How
And
big
it
is this thing? It's massive, right?
I mean, have you ever seen a rhinoceros in person?
Yeah, they're huge.
It's bigger than that. It's
Yeah,
it's definitely bigger than this. It's like 1.5. It's like that plus 50% bigger. At
massive.
least.
Yeah, okay.
That's huge. So he kind of comes lumbering up to you a little bit, and Bruno pats it on the back, and he says, "Philo, this is Bu." And he says, "This is Philo.
Touch the thing.
He likes on the nose."
It's a very big animal, yeah?
You scratch it on the nose, and he says, feel the horn."
Go touch the horn.
The horn is smooth, and he seems to like that too. You see his nostrils kind of flare.
Give us some scratchy scratches on the horn.
He likes it. A couple of the others approach the group of you, and until all 5 of the rhinos have their interest on you guys, and they're kind of gathering around to meet you all. Like, this would probably be really, really terrifying if Bruno wasn't there with his staff in the midst of them all, kind of patting them and looking approvingly at them.
The way that Warith naturally shines to big animals is completely overwritten by how much James hates big animals.
Yes. Tinkerbell gets on just fine with them, it seems. She's a little skittish at first, but the one that looks at her, Bruno pats, and he seems to have a calming effect on the horse as well. And Fabian just doesn't give a crap. Not at all. He does not care.
Because he's an ass.
The ass don't crap. Oh, you beat me to
it. So we have a nice little interaction with these guys. You get some nose pets in there, some horn scritches. And Bruno says, "Thank you for indulging me. Now, let us just be out of the gate and up there a bit. I see a form in the snow." And he leads you. He says, "Stay a small ways behind me."
Yeah, we will follow your lead. Not a problem.
You walk over all the way up to the spot where behind Bruno where you were attacked, and you find a corpse. He says, "I did indeed kill it." An arrow straight through the head of a creature pretty much like this. He's
Oh boy.
big, thick-bodied, nearly as tall as Bruno. Nearly as tall as Bruno himself. He's probably 12 feet high. Bruno being 16.
Mm-hmm.
So with these long arms and this ferocious, this fearsome face, but now with an arrow straight through it. And Bruno puts his foot down and rips the arrow out, puts it in his pack, and he begins to haul this corpse up onto his shoulder, and he says, "Well, I will make many meals out of him." And he says,
yeah.
"All of you, goodbye. Thank you."
Thank you.
Thank you for being my guest. And he
May I
just...
make?
What's that?
Well, if he's like turning away,
He's
kind
just,
of like
he's in the midst of saying goodbye to you.
I have one request, and it might be unreasonable for you.
What would that be?
We have told our ship that we would be gone no longer than a week, but from the information that you have given us, it feels that we will be gone much longer than a week. Would you be able to go see your friend, Mahalova, and tell him that we will be delayed so that he can relay the information? Or is that something that you are not able to do?
I will do this for you. Yes.
We seriously appreciate it. Is there anything that we can do to repay your kindness?
Nothing at all. In fact, it is high time that I go and see him again. It has been many months.
How long do you think it will take us to get to the cave cliff watcher?
The
Yeah.
cliff watcher, I cannot say. Only the fates may tell that. He may be easily found, he may never be found. It is not up to me. But I will do this thing for you. I will see Mahaloveo.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate it.
Indeed. And he lugs this corpse straight onto his back and hauls on back to his yurt.
Mm-hmm.
You see him shove it through the gate and into his house, where not into his house. He kind of shoos the other guys aside, and he takes a stone knife and starts to just butcher the thing.
Yeah. Well, we might as well get going now.
Yeah, you head on up the road then, where now it's drifted over, but you can kind of estimate where the road is and was. And you trudge through snowdrifts. And you go for 4 more days. And let me make a couple rolls real quick. So the first day, the weather is kind all day long. And in fact, there's not a cloud in the sky. And some of the snow gets melted. The second day, a light snow falls, but it doesn't get any worse than that. The third day, it snows heavily. And it's heavy enough that it costs you 1 more day because you have to bed down early. So the fourth day, again, it's a mild snow. Doesn't really slow you down much. And your last day on the road, it's a medium amount of snow, large wet flakes falling down, not really impeding your travel too much. So you have worked your way to the east and slightly north of where you landed. Now the road here on your 5th day, mid-morning, becomes clearer. It becomes more well-traveled, definitely trod upon by giants and their beasts of burden. Ahead of you, the land seems to almost separate, descending between the 2 sides, which as you pass through, you see it opens up into a little valley where, completely ringed by forest on all sides, is a sort of town. The town itself is built almost haphazardly around a small lake that is in the center, and surprisingly, it is not frozen. It's barely wide enough to fit what is the centerpiece of the town. You see on this island, rising from it, is an immense pole, perhaps 10 feet in diameter, probably 100 feet high. It is carved of wood, and you see huge faces of giants carved into it,
Ooh,
memorializing them, painted brightly. And it looks as though it might have been carved to one single tree, and that is the centerpiece seen from anywhere in and around town. Now around this lake, you see a good 24 yurts of varying sizes. There are several pens with almost stable-like structures attached where the rhinos are kept and shepherded by the giants. And you see some of them with their staffs, kind of either helping the shepherding the rhinos, or just keeping watch over them. And you do see where those rhinos are kept. You see, acting almost like shepherd dogs back home, are those kula, the odd, big, thick, two-legged bird creatures. And yeah, they look just as much of a terror bird as you described them. But they hop around and trot about between these pens. And you do even see off amongst the forest, at the edge of the forest, there's a giant with his kula and a herd of about 7 rhinos, often just off roaming freely, and he's shepherding them. Additionally, so you notice that a lot of these yurts are made of walls of stone and earthen roofs, growing grass and lichen upon them. There are as well some sheds, various other smaller buildings. You also note one building of a particular size. It's a sort of a longhouse, where the roof is highest in the middle and slopes to both ends. Walls made of stone similar to the yurts, and the smoke pours forth from 2 apertures on its ceiling, or on this roof. And this one is near the lake on the north side. So that's what you see as you approach this vale in which Ovvai is settled.
Made it. Thank the gods.
That was a rough few days on the road.
Who died yet, I suppose.
Yeah.
But we did not die on the road, and we still have food.
And yet there is more to go. We cannot count ourselves finished yet.
Yes,
Well, at least
surely
we have
that.
reached. That's the first leg of our journey. So, how do you want to proceed?
Well, the 2 giants that we have met so far have been friendly. I can't now see these not being friendly. Why don't we see if we can get some information on
I agree.
The Cliff Watcher from anybody here? And you know that the biggest house, the long one there? I think that might be the place to go.
Yes, so you're currently approaching it. You're approaching it from the southwest. So the lake is in the center. You just need to go around it a little bit. You don't need to cross it or anything. Just kind of, it won't be hard for you to get there. But as you get closer, just the immensity of this totem pole really strikes you. Its craftsmanship and its age, really an incredible object, incredible work of art. It must mean a lot to the giants.
Indeed. Guess I won't set it on fire.
I doubt you could set it on fire, Warth.
You can certainly try.
Soaking in water for a long time. I'm sure that thing has just sponged it up.
Yeah.
Then one of the giants might not be so friendly after that.
We have been in their good graces so far. I think destroying maybe a relic of theirs may not be the best idea.
Fine.
I bet that thing is worth many beads. Many beads.
Perhaps all of the beads, I would think. Perhaps. Just
Oh.
all of the beads.
We proceed into town.
Yes, you head into town, and uh, it doesn't really have streets. You can see that it's just desire paths. Wherever the giants walk, that is where the streets are. They seem to have done a good job clearing out from the big snow a few days before. There's not really
The big
Uh,
snow.
any drifts left. The streets, like I said, what streets there are, these paths are pretty clear. And you walk between a few of the yurts. A couple giants take notice of you, but they go about their business. And you do see one giant kind of hauling a cart, heading. He's across the lake, kind of looks like he may be heading out of town. Another is working with a large wagon. He has a rhino, and is kind of working on attaching attaching the rhino to this cart, and maybe making some mechanical modifications to it. And that's generally what life is going about. Many of the yurts have smoke rising from their centers as well.
I'd like to approach someone that is near
The
us.
nearest giant you see is about 200 feet away, and he is leaning up against his yurt. And there's next to him a pretty sprawling pen where there are 3 rhinos, and there is a kula that's pecking at the ground near this giant, and he's got this big gnarled wood staff in hand, and he looks to be just taking a break. And this is only a couple buildings away from the longhouse at this point. You've made your way that far through town.
I'll say to the group, I'll be right back. I'm going to go talk with that one there and see if we can get some directions. And then I'll approach him.
We'll wait here.
Approach that giant.
And he looks down at you with a curious glance. Well met, small folk.
Yeah, it's we are obviously travelers. We were hoping if you could give us some information.
What sort of information seek you, and how even come you by this place?
By ship. My name is Bu, and we 4 have traveled many days from the docks of
Oh, Mahalau, yes, I know him.
Yes.
I've met him several times. Now this is a rarity for us, so certainly, what information do you seek? Rarely do we get travelers, but we like to help.
For the elder of this town, if there is one.
You speak of the Yuntal, our overseer of daily affairs.
Yeah.
We giants have no, what do you call them, kings, but we do have an elder, the Yuntal. We rotate between us. All of the village is Yuntal at some point, but currently it is Pelalriel. Perhaps he is to be found in the longhouse. Otherwise, he is with his rhinos in the hills.
Pelalriel. Well, we thank you.
Of course. Is there anything else you strange little folk need? Or
I think that is all that we need right now. We are looking for information, but I figured that instead of bothering you particular with our inquiries, we might as well just go to the elder. Yeah?
Might as well, yes then. And you would do to check the longhouse.
Thank you very much. We will do that. And then I'll scamper back to the party. And then
The,
relay the information.
As you
Yeah.
turn and leave, the Kula kind of goes at you and
Sounds like
Yeah. Well, then never mind.
I like defensively stand.
the Kula kind of makes like, yeah, that's right. Eyes at you.
I prepare to go into patient defense. No, I used my action to dodge.
Yes, use your action to dodge. But the giant, standing next to this Kula, he gives it a little kick with its, just gives it a little kick against the side, and it goes, and it looks kind of ashamed, and slinks back.
Thank you. Be honest with you, that is probably the most terrifying thing that we have seen is these large ones.
Mm-hmm. That's scarier than the troll.
Oh yeah, of course, Worth. Much scarier. I go back to the party.
All right, you guys are all joined up, and do you head to the longhouse then?
Yep.
Okay. There is an open door on each end of the longhouse, and you enter through the one that's nearest to you. And within here, it's of course massive. It's like a big hall for you. It's like a huge grand hall for you guys. It's warm and welcoming. Soft light from two fires fills the room with an almost otherworldly glow. It's decorated much like Bruno's home, but here the floor is stone, though still much covered with thick rugs that the giants seem to like so much. The ceiling you see is supported mainly with what look to be these immense tusks. Upon one wall, between the two fires, there sits a massive wooden chair. It is carved and painted intricately in a similar manner to the totem pole. Its legs are as thick as the trunks of small trees, and its seat and back giant heavy slabs of carven wood. And right now it is vacant, though. But around the rest of the longhouse, you see around the fire that is further from you, there are three giants. These clad mostly in furs and pelts, some leather, not really armored. They seem to be having lunch, slurping something from those huge wood bowls, and they're just kind of minding their own business.
We approach the three.
One of them finishes slurping his food stuffs, looks at you all and says, "Little folk then, eh? What are you doing here?"
Well, we are looking for the village elder, which we have learned the name as Pilariel.
Pilariel, he is not here. He's up in the woods perhaps. He often likes to spend his days shepherding his rhinos through the trees in the woods.
Okay.
He likes this very much. Pilariel will perhaps be back in the evening, but what have you need of?
Well,
I am Shintala, by the way.
Shintala, it's very nice to meet you. My name is Bu, and with me I have Warth, Brecken, and Yerwin.
Hello, and he gestures to the two giants. This is Herfundai and Vebalen.
It's an honor to meet you.
You see that the Shintala is, they're all immensely tall. I don't need to describe them as tall. They're
They're giant.
Shintala has this a full, long white beard that goes down to his chest. The one he gestures to as being Herfundai, he has a fuller head of more longish brownish hair and mutton chop sideburns. And Vabalen has very large muscles, wears some leathers,
Muscle.
and he's got a long mustache that blends down into his beard, and his head is bald. And they all both nod to you. But Vebalen has a little bit of a skeptical look in his eye.
Well, we are looking for someone who knows dead languages, and we have the name or the title of Cliff Watcher as someone we are supposed to seek out. And that is honestly our next step. We were given the name of this town, and we have made our way here, but we have no idea where to go after this. We were hoping that whoever the elder was of this town could give us maybe some more information on where exactly we were supposed to go after. Information is all we're looking for.
They look at each other, and they. Do any of you speak Giant?
Mm-mm.
They begin to converse. They begin to converse amongst themselves in Giant for several minutes, looking away from you. At times, especially Vebalen, turning a skeptical eye your way. They seem to be. They seem to be not always agreeing, having some sort of a dispute almost. And they look back at you, and Shintala, he says, "How have you heard of the Cliff Watcher?"
When we first landed here, Mahalo Vau
Yes.
had given us the information of this town, of Ovvai, and also of Cliff Watcher.
That one called Vebalen says, "He's seldom seen. But why should we help you find him? Perhaps you have no business with giant kind. Perhaps you have ill intent."
Yeah, and we have just met, so I understand how you may feel that about us. We are in possession of a book that needs to be translated. Where we come from, it is turbulent times, and we might be on the brink of some war. It is of no concern of giants, that is true. It is of great concern of us here. And we heard a rumor of someone here on the Isle of Giants that could translate the book, and that is all that we are after.
Roll persuasion.
Hecky to Becky. Please be good. It's not. It's a 5. Pack it in, boys. We might as well go home.
The Valen seems unconvinced. Kind of glares at you a little bit. They converse in Giant for a little bit more.
I turn to them. Listen, what we are seeking is of great concern to us all. We have seen terrible, terrible things happening. We believe that the entire world may be in danger, and we are seeking to translate this book so that we can save everyone. including giants. We must complete our mission.
This one has just said that there is no concern of giant kind. What?
Well, he's a
of our
simple
king?
person. Forgive him.
Your stories seem to be conflicting.
I assure you, it is of grave concern to us all. We keep what we know close to us, for fear that we are being followed or talking to someone who is not of our best wishes at will. Well,
This
does
could
not
be
have our best heart.
the one called Garfundai speaks up.
This could be reasonable. I do not know,
Says Vebalan. And they say they have an exchange in giant. And Shintala says,
Can you give us anything more specific? Why do we send you to the Cliff Watcher?
I turned to Brecken. Should we show him the item?
Bracken is very hesitant.
I see no other way past this.
Well, it has to do with face steel. We can tell you that much. It has to do with the dead language. We can tell you that much. And a white griffin. But that might be all that we know ourselves. Brecken knows a little bit more.
Bracken takes out the book and he shows them and says,
This tome right here. It is of, I implore you, it is of dire importance that we find someone who can translate this. And if your Cliff Watcher can help us at all, see, this is proof.
Wareth, why don't you roll me a persuasion as well?
Indeed. Ooh, 26 in total.
Oh!
It was not a
Oh.
20, but
What is your persuasion?
7.
Oh, you have expertise in it, don't you?
Yes, I rolled a 19.
As Bracken holds the book, and with a pleading face and an honest expression, and you getting through to Vebalan, you see his expression fall. He scratches his chin and his beard. He speaks in giants to Shintala and Kerfundai. And they exchange nods. And Shintala then says,
You do seem honest to us now. We will tell you then. We will tell you to seek Gerundian, the brewer.
Arundian the brewer.
Yes, Gerundian. He travels often, hauling his fine ales hither and thither across the land for our thirsty folk. If anyone knows about the Cliff Watcher, if anyone knows anything about the Cliff Watcher right now, there is a chance that it is he.
Thank you.
He lives in south of the lake. You will see the barrels outside of his yurt. Barrels of ale, casks. That should tell you where he is.
We thank you very much. This is the information that we needed.
Make certain that we did not trust you unwisely.
Yeah. That is
A nod to him.
that is our intent.
Very good then. And I say, be on your way then, lest you have need of something, our hospitality is binding. If you need you food or drink. And the one called Herfundai says, we have troll stew. There's a delicacy. You see, and he says, stock made of their bones. Then I add the tongue, chopped into chunks, and finally the liver. It is fantastic with carrots.
I would love
Worth
to
is
try.
horrified, but trying to keep a straight face.
I would absolutely love to try.
Would you? We would not refuse a guest.
And he pours you about halfway full of one of these massive bowls of troll stew. You see some, the broth looks kind of oily, pretty good though, and it's got some chunks of various chunks in it. There are some carrots, chunks of things, and roll a con save.
Oh no!
This is basically just to see if you like it or not, because it's
14.
strong. It's a strong stew with very many flavors in it, but it's palatable to you.
Thank you for this meal.
Of course.
I have another request of you, and this would be up to your discretion. I would love to exchange some of our gold that we commonly carry for some of your currency, which I understand is the beads. We have seen them on Buno for you or Yorva var. Man, I'm reading it as I wrote it phonetically. And we meant to ask him, but we did not.
Says Vavalan. I've no need of gold.
Okay. Is there anything that we could do to earn some of your currency of these beads?
The others kind of nod their assent, and they say, you could, Herfundai says, you could look for someone who needs labor done, I suppose.
Yeah, okay.
But none of us have any interest in gold.
All right. Well, we thank you very much for your hospitality and the information.
Hey, be well and travel safe, travelers. Seek Gerfundai, and mayhap he can help you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Turn go.
All right, and this is where we end tonight's session, guys.
Hey, all right.
Hey.
I'm falling
Made your
asleep, so
way.
yay.
Yeah, I saw that.